Hello everyone, my name is Pauline Welikhe, and today I will be talking about artificial intelligence and its potential application in agriculture. Specifically, its potential application in sustainable phosphorus management. When I was making this presentation, I thought that the best way to start my talk would be by first defining what intelligence is, and then we would go from there. As I was searching the internet for an image that would help me explain, that would help me define intelligence, this one caught my attention and I decided to share it with you. In the image, we have an individual who has puzzle pieces in front of him. He recognizes that he has a challenge or a problem in front of him because he has to figure out where each puzzle piece goes in order to solve the puzzle, and in the process, learn how a puzzle is done. If we were to give this individual the same puzzle another time, I bet you he would be able to solve it faster than he did the first time. Why? Because the individual has become intelligent. Therefore, from this image, we can say that intelligence is simply the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. The next question that arises is, what is the difference between human intelligence and artificial intelligence? Well, from birth, the purpose of human intelligence is to combine a range of cognitive activities in order to adapt to new circumstances. These activities range from letter and number games, sorting sizes, shapes and colors, solving puzzles, doing arts and crafts, and many other cognitive activities. On the other hand, the goal of artificial intelligence is to create computers or machines that are able to behave like humans and complete jobs that humans would normally do. That is where the biggest lift is, how to transfer human intelligence to computers or machines. So how is it done? It is done through the use of algorithms. And algorithms are a sequence of rigorous instructions that the computers must follow during their problem-solving operations. These algorithms enable computers to act on data through statistical analysis, enabling them to understand, analyze, and learn. After training these computers with algorithms, they become artificially intelligent. And just like humans, they can remember patterns in data and adapt their responses to conform to those patterns. These artificially intelligent computers have found several applications in agriculture. If you did a Google search of AI in ag, you will find several peer-reviewed publications or just news articles on how AI-based softwares are being applied in agriculture, from field condition management, livestock management, crop management, weather forecasting, and of course, precision agriculture. There are many advantages to the use of AI in agriculture, and these include increase in efficiency without harming the environment, strengthening the farming and agricultural business by producing good quality and nutritious products, pest and disease control, improving crop management practices, and resolving challenges faced by farmers such as climate variation, limited resources, pollution, or infestation. Given the increased use of AI in agriculture, we explored its potential use in sustainable phosphorus management. For those in ag, we know that with the increasing global population, agricultural producers need fertilizers and manures to increase crop yields in order to meet the increasing food demand. However, excessive use of fertilizers and manure in agricultural fields is contributing to increased nutrient loadings to aquatic systems. And this leads to more frequent and intense cases of eutrophication, as you can see in these images, where eutrophication is the excessive plant and algal growth, which leads to dead zones and fish kills. And this is where there is great interest in innovative ways to monitor and control phosphorus loss from agricultural fields. This is why, while I was at Purdue University doing my PhD, we ventured to use AI to predict phosphorus losses from agricultural fields. And I will briefly go over how artificial intelligence allowed us to improve the accuracy of the phosphorus index in this work that we published in 2021. The phosphorus index is a P-loss risk assessment tool that takes into consideration both the transport and source factors, and over the years it has been revised and evaluated. As the phosphorus index is continually being evaluated and improved, its weights have come under scrutiny. One, because some PIs used professional judgment to assign their weights, and two, for those that used measured P-loss data, they used linear regressions, which means that in the grand scheme of things, the real-world synergistic and antagonistic effects among phosphorus source and transport factors were not considered. Well, artificial neural networks, which are a form of AI, are computer-based systems inspired by the learning process in the human brain. Several studies have already used ants to model nutrient loss, which they have achieved with very high accuracies. I'm talking R-squares of above 0.9. So, how did we do this in our study? As I mentioned earlier, for a computer to be intelligent, you have to provide it with the data and the algorithms. And this is what we did. We gave it numerous data points on field characteristics that affect P-loss. These include soil test phosphorus level, fertilizer amounts added, manure amounts added, application methods, runoff, erosion characteristics of the soils, and distance to water body. In addition to those site characteristics, we also provided it with measurements of the phosphorus that was lost from each of the individual fields. And then, to enable the computer to understand, learn, and recognize patterns and solve problems, we also gave it an algorithm. So, what was the result? This table shows how we use the 10-fold cross-validation technique to select the final trained ant whose structure has been depicted in the next. This network structure shows us how the ant was able to make out the connections between the different site characteristics and the final P lost from each field. There is a lot going on in this slide, but what I would like you to pay attention to is how well the trained ant. Remember, we gave the computer lots of data and an algorithm that allowed it to understand, analyze, and learn patterns. And so we trained it. And after training it, we tested how well that trained ant will predict phosphorus loss from another data set that it had never seen before. And from the parity plot and the R-square and the RMAC displayed on the figure, you can see that it did a pretty great job. Once we knew that it was now intelligent, we used it to determine the weights of different site characteristics in the phosphorus index. We then compared the performance of the PI whose weights were AI derived or underived versus a PI with no weights and a PI whose weights were determined using professional judgment. Let's start with the PI with no weights. When you look at figure A, you can see that there was not a significant exponential relationship between index values and the measured phosphorus loss. This was expected given the absence of weights, since weights act much like coefficients in a linear regression. Next, let's look at the index whose weights were arbitrarily determined. Again, there was not a significant exponential relationship between index values and measured phosphorus loss. This was also not a surprise because ideally, PI weights should be determined using measured phosphorus loss data. And this is what we did when we used the artificial neural network. And as you can see, it greatly improved the relationship between index values and the measured phosphorus loss in runoff. When we look at the first two figures, we can see distinct groups of data, and these distinct groups of data arise due to the use of categorical variables in the phosphorus index. However, the ungenerated weights alleviated to some extent these groups, and this again highlights the importance of considering possible antagonistic and synergistic interactions between different site characteristics. In conclusion, we have seen that AI is emerging as a powerful tool for environmental protection, and one of its most promising applications is in nutrient loss monitoring from agricultural fields. We have also seen that AI-based monitoring systems are capable of analyzing large amounts of data in real time, allowing for the detection of potential problems before they become serious. Finally, AI-based systems can also help to identify sources of pollution, such as factories and agricultural runoff. This information can be used to take action to reduce or eliminate the sources of pollution, thus protecting the environment. However, the implementation of AI-based systems in monitoring nutrient loss from agricultural fields is not without its challenges. Two challenges that I'd like to highlight are: number one, cost. AI systems require significant upfront investments in hardware, software, and data storage. In addition, there are costs associated with training the AI system and maintaining it over time, and these costs can be significant. Another challenge is the availability of reliable data from which the AI can learn, understand, and determine patterns. I would like to end my talk by thanking the Fertilizer Association of Southern Africa for inviting me to speak in this Soil Fertility and Plant Nutrition Symposium. Even though I was not able to attend in person, I truly enjoyed putting this presentation together for you. Please feel free to reach out via email if you have any questions or want to further discuss the potential of AI in nutrient management. Thank you all.